And welcome back, everybody. Guess I should stop Mickey Mouse and get down to business here. I'll tell you that we are brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with a promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Sorry to the U.S. ones. Hey, John Bender, looks like you're back home in Canada. Am I right?
I am. Yeah, I just got back yesterday.
All right, Nevada Wolfpack alum. We got a lot to get to with you. This gentleman blocked for both Colin Kaepernick and Cody Fajardo. I don't think you're the only guy that did that, but it's a small group that blocked for both Colin Kaepernick and Cody Fajardo. But you were at the World Series, John Bender. Tell me about it.
It was. It was amazing. I've been a Blue Jays fan for a long time. And I always said, if I have an opportunity to go to the World Series, I should definitely look into it. So when the opportunity came, I knew I had to be in Reno that weekend for the Hall of Fame induction. I knew that the Dodgers and the Blue Jays were going to be playing in LA so I got some buddies. I said, "Hey, let's all go down there and make this thing happen." It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Atmosphere was unreal. I was there for the 18-inning game. Got to see a lot, and it was great. It was a once in a lifetime experience. I'm glad I was able to do it.
I could feel the enjoyment coming off you by looking at your photos. Who were those buddies, by the way? Were those old Wolfpack buddies? Were these LA buddies, Calgary buddies? Who were you with?
Those are buddies from Calgary. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well, listen, everybody's talking about ticket prices. I know you're a financial planner, so if this is too invasive, don't answer it. But how much were those tickets? Because you see, they're saying 111,000 plus for home plate tickets for Game 6 and 7, or 2,800 in the nosebleed. Where were your seats? And if you don't mind, what'd you pay?
Yeah, I have a good buddy that's a ticket broker, and he kind of let me in on some tips and things we should look into doing and what we should do to take care of it. So it wasn't too bad. We ended up right around 50 to 800 US dollar mark, and we were third seat in the right field bleachers for one game, and we were down the foul line for the other. So we weren't going crazy spending 2,500 plus like a lot of people did, but yeah, it worked out good. I really enjoyed it. I have a bit of a budget for things like that I've saved up over years, so I have an opportunity to go, and I was glad I did. It was a lot of fun.
Good for you. Well, as somebody brought up this week, the old MasterCard commercials. What's the cost of priceless? And for you, those memories were. But just take me a little more into that. You're Canadian like me. We're all Blue Jays fans. The Dodgers fans seemed, I'm sure, a little stunned that they're not manhandling their opponents. Am I right in that?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that the Dodgers fans were really stunned. A lot of the Dodgers fans around me couldn't believe what was happening. I think that they all know who the Blue Jays are. They know the Blue Jays can play at a high level. Their star players. I think that they were really surprised by some of the other players, some of the lower half of the lineup, how they were playing, how well they were playing defensively, and things like that.
Good stuff. Well, we'll see if they wrap it up this weekend. Do you have a prediction on how it's going to go?
Uh, I think the Blue Jays will roll it. They got one more game in Toronto, and that'll be it. So I'm going to say Blue Jays in 6.
All right, a very wise guy said that on this show on Friday. Okay, John.
Awesome.
We're now, since the last time we talked, we're now airing across Nevada, including in Reno on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. So again, I follow what you do real closely. Some would say stalking. You went into the Hall of Fame. Tell me about all that.
That was awesome. So they indulged 2010 University of Nevada football team into the University of Nevada Hall of Fame. So they invited us all back to campus. They let us know in July. A lot of guys got to planning, and we all got out there. So there were 70 plus guys that showed up for the Hall of Fame induction. And it was great. 15 years ago, after the bowl game was done that season, some of those guys I haven't seen since that moment. So it was great to get back, great to see a lot of the guys, great to see a lot of guys I spent a lot of time with, and just catch up with them and see where they're at in their lives. And a lot of the guys are doing great things, have great families, have led great lives, and it's been great to see. So a lot of my old teammates, with all to the University of Nevada, he didn't run a country club there. We were working hard, we were getting after it every day, and to see a lot of the guys use that same effort and tenacity they had on the football field and another walk of life and find a lot of success has been awesome.
Well, tell me about that 2010 Nevada team. What made you worthy of the Hall of Fame?
So we finished 13-1 that year. We finished number 11 in the nation. Our big signature win that year was we beat the university. So we beat Boise State University. They were ranked number 4 in the nation. They came into Reno on we call it, Blue Friday in Reno. They came in there and the day after Thanksgiving. And we were ranked number 19 in the nation, and we beat them. So they, I think, had 24 straight wins coming into that game. There was talk of them potentially playing in the national championship, certainly playing in a BCS bowl game. And we stopped those hopes, got a big signature win. And we had a lot of big wins that year. Cal came into Nevada ranked number 24, and we beat them by 21 points early in the season. So we had a great team, great roster. I think 14 players from that team played in the NFL. Another couple more played in the CFL. So there was talent all up and down that roster. A lot of the guys have, had great careers. Super Bowl rings, tens of millions of dollars of career earnings. Some Grey Cup rings, and there's been a lot of success from that room.
Who was your quarterback? Who was your quarterback, John?
Our quarterback was Colin Kaepernick. Then sorry, what was that?
I just said who was your quarterback?
Our quarterback was Colin Kaepernick. Yeah, he was certainly great. 10,000 yards passing, 1,000 yards rushing throughout his college career. At the time, he had the record for the most rushing touchdowns in a college career as well with 59. So he had a great college career also.
Amazing. A question from the audience before I switch to pro. Tony from Cochrane, Alberta says, John, do you remember bumping bellies with my son, Cody Hart from the Cochrane Bobcats?
I didn't really hear you that well. Sorry, can you say that again?
Producer Corey says that your internet is a little delayed. What can we do about that? Does he need to hit refresh or something, Corey, or what would work?
You have bad connection or what's going on?
It was okay. Hang on. Let me just text him and say hit refresh. This doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. Okay. There we go. We got you, John. Did you hit refresh? Okay. We got you. We're good. The question was from Tony in Cochrane, Alberta. He says, do you remember bumping bellies with his son, Cody Hart from the Cochrane Bobcats?
Yeah, that sounds right. I think I played him in basketball too, if I remember right. Yeah, there's always a couple big kids in town there. So, yeah, that sounds right.
Okay, good. You got to love the personal connection of this show. Okay, because you're here, we don't talk a lot of CFL in hour 2, but we're going to. Your Stampeders alum. I was looking at the numbers today. Calgary Stampeders go into BC Western semifinal this Saturday. Lions favored by 4.5. It's not going to be a blowout either way, I don't think. Calgary's got a shot in this one. What do they have to do, John, to pull it off?
They got to be great at the line of scrimmage. They got to be able to get to Nathan Rourke with the 4 D linemen without bringing big pass rushes, they have to be able to just line up and get upfield and keep him contained where he's not rushing downfield, causing problems like he was in the last 2 games they played. And they have to hit him. They got to hit him early. They got to make him uncomfortable. If you can do that, you have a good opportunity to win. If they're unable to do that, I mean, Nathan Rourke's been tearing up the CFL here the second half of the season, and I would expect more of that. But if you can, get him uncomfortable, get a couple licks on him early, keep him off the field as much as you can by having a great offense, I think that's your solution to win with any great quarterback. I think Nathan Rourke has been proven himself to be a great quarterback in this league.
So basically, it may be 2025, but things haven't changed that much. It's going to come down to defense. Is that what you're telling me in all these games?
Yeah, I think a great defense. In no league like the CFL does getting a sack change things, because in the CFL you get a sack, it kills drives. Right? They only have 2 opportunities to get a first down. If they're buried behind the chains early, it's going to be tough for them. So if you can get upfield and pass rush, it's going to make a huge difference.
I saw the numbers on that. Actually, if you get a sack on second down, it's over. You're 100% right. So when I look at what about the battle, though? I'm not done. Vernon Adams versus Nathan Rourke. You've been watching this Stamps team all year. What's VA going to approach this game like? Is he going to try and do too much, or does he have enough around him that he doesn't need to do that?
Best when he has the opportunity to push the ball downfield. When he's been pushing the ball downfield, he's had a lot of success. They have to be able to have a great run game, though. They've been doing that the last few weeks. They've been complementing the run game by throwing the deep ball when they need to. They're going to be indoors. I'm expecting a bit of a shootout here. We'll see what happens, but both teams, I think, have great high-powered offenses. Both teams will be trying to put up points in a hurry. I think both teams are really excited to get out there and get after it.
It's interesting you talk about the elements, right? With this one being indoors, the Eastern semifinal, which I'll get to with you. I got to ask you about the Bombers at the Alouettes, but how much does that affect things? You're the most talented team will win in perfect conditions, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no excuses when you have great conditions, when you're playing indoors like that. I mean, football is a game where you have to build and plan around the elements too, right? That's why a lot of great teams are always focusing on having a great defense and having a run game, because you can play that game in the rain and the wind, when it's cold out, all those things. But, if it was about who can ball the best, I think Peyton Manning would have a lot more, you'd have a lot more Super Bowl rings. There's probably some other quarterbacks like Bo Levi Mitchell in the CFL. He was 10-1 on Labor Day a lot, or close to that, right? He had a great record, but when you got to play in the cold and in the elements, it's going to change things. And maybe those guys then, with the way that they have to line up and get things going, you have to put more emphasis then on your defense, on your run game, and try to get after things a different way. So, yeah, they're going to have an opportunity to play inside. There's going to be no excuses there. Nobody's going to be checking the weather reports or worried about anything there. They're just going to line up, play football, try to throw the deep ball, try to get after as best they can.
You are definitely the biggest CFL backer in Calgary, and vis-a-vis, you follow the whole league. Winnipeg goes into Montreal. Speaking of betting lines, the Alouettes are favored by 4.5. Their quarterback, Davis Alexander, is 11-0. He's never lost, John, so why even play the game? This is all pointing to an Alouettes win on Saturday.
It is, but they're playing against a team with a lot of experience. They've been to 5 straight Grey Cup. They've been there. Their full season, not around having the best regular season record, but being ready for the playoffs, having another opportunity to get back to the big dance or get to the Grey Cup. The Grey Cup's at home. It's in Winnipeg. They're going to be motivated. They want to be there. They've waited a long time for this opportunity. And they have a lot of players that are going to end up in the CFL Hall of Fame. They'll have lots to say about this. So, Davis Alexander's had a great start to his career. He's played very, very well. But, there's a great D-line there in Winnipeg. There's a great running back in Winnipeg and Brady Oliveira. There's a great offensive line in Winnipeg, with over there with Stanley Bryant and the rest of his friends. So they're going to have an opportunity to, go out there. And a lot of those guys are getting towards the end of their careers. They're not going to want to go out on a sour note. They're going to leave everything on the field. And if they have an opportunity to go through the East to get to the Grey Cup, I think they'd love that opportunity as well. I think Montreal better be ready. I think it's going to be a great game over there as well.
I think it's going to be a fantastic Saturday of football for sure. I'm going to flip it over to the NFL right now. You sounds like you spent the last couple of weeks in America. What's the biggest story in the NFL right now that you soaked up or saw when you were in the States?
I think everybody's trying to see who the number 1 seed is going to be in the AFC. I think that there's been some movement there. I think that we all thought it might be Kansas City and Baltimore, and they've had slow starts. So we're trying to see if it's Buffalo. Is Buffalo going to be that team? Is it going to be another team? What does all that look like? I spent a lot of time in LA this week. People were talking a bit about the Rams there, and if they have opportunity. Both of the quarterbacks were at the World Series, so they were out there having fun, getting their LA thing in. But I saw, with all the guys there. But yeah, I think those are the big stories. You're trying to see how it all gets down to the end here. I mean, we're trying to figure out if the Eagles are, they're going to be contenders again, or if they're falling off here, and see how all that looks. So there's a lot of stories left to be told, and we'll see how it plays out. But I think the Chiefs are starting to hit the ground running again. They're starting to play better, and I think that they're going to end up being that team in the AFC again. And I don't know if Baltimore's too little too late now, but I'm sure once Lamar Jackson's back playing well, they're going to have an opportunity also, and hopefully they can get back in the fold.
Well, we're basically at the halfway point, and I've been saying all week that the things are starting to settle out the way that they should. Underdogs aren't pulling off upsets anymore. The teams we expect to win are winning. But I wanted your take on this, because you follow the NFL closely. This Myles Garrett stuff is like a mosquito around my ear. Like, it's just noise. So he's saying now he wants out of Cleveland. He just signed for the bag not even a year ago, $40 million a year. You can't have both. Are you following the Myles Garrett situation?
Yeah, so one of my good buddies is Joe Bitonio from university, and he's a Pro Bowl left guard for the Browns. So I'm always kind of keeping my eye on the Browns and seeing what they're up to. And yeah, Myles Garrett, I mean, he kind of talked last year about wanting to leave, and then they gave him a bunch of money, and then that stopped talking, right? And now he's talking about kind of the same things. Who knows? Maybe this ends up in an extension. Maybe this ends up in a trade. I'm not sure where it finishes, but I'm sure he's frustrated. I mean, getting 5 sacks and losing a game, I don't know how many players have done that over the course of their careers. But, if he has an opportunity to play for a championship, I think a lot of guys realize at one point or another that it's time to, getting, paid whatever it is isn't necessarily worth it if you're not winning the games and playing, towards the end of the season. So some guys obviously sacrifice to try to win as many championships as they can. And I'm sure some guys, the competitive nature in them, they just get sick of losing.
That's my point. Yeah, I don't know if it's today's.
When I talked to a lot of my teammates, I was just, I met.
Go ahead, John. Sorry, you're getting bottled up there.
I just mentioned I saw 70 of my buddies, like, sure, yeah. I just talked to them. I mentioned saw 7 of my buddies in Reno over the weekend. And, we talked a little bit about the games we won. There was still 3, 4, 5 games we lost that made us sick. And that's the competitive nature in us, right? I think Myles Garrett probably had that too, and I'm sure that he gets really frustrated.
Right. There you go. We got you good now, John. Well, I heard you. I heard it. It's a decision you got to make. You want to win a championship or you want to make the money, and you're a money guy. What would you do if you're in Myles Garrett's position?
Well, now that he's got the money, or as much money as he can, or a good contract, I mean, now would be the time to ask out if you want to go win. So he has a great contract in place. He knows he's got X amount of guaranteed dollars. I mean, at this stage, it's probably, if he does things right, he's probably not going to spend all the money he's made now. Now it's just, his legacy that it's going to change that's left behind. So, I mean, if it's important for him to leave a bigger legacy, great. But maybe that legacy involves a Super Bowl ring. Maybe that legacy involves, I think what a lot of people don't realize is when these guys win on the field, they win a lot more off the field with marketing deals and things like that. And I mean, you don't have to look very far with Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce winning, Super Bowls and what they've been able to do with how much money they've made off the field from those things as well.
100% for sure. It's just like tossing a whining kid a bag of candy. As soon as the candy is gone, they're whining again. That's Myles Garrett. It's like, we gave you the money. Shut up. And I don't know how many teams are going to want to take on a $40 million per year contract or even have the room to do it. But John, we're out of time, man. This was awesome. Thanks for coming on. Enjoy the games, and hopefully we can do it again here as the snow flies.
All right, for sure. Thank you for having me.
The great John Bender, everybody. Nevada Wolfpack Hall of Fame, CFL alum, big football guy, as you see. We'll be back with Sports Update right after this.